So I don't know if you guys heard, but DJI came out with this new drone. I'm going to assume you haven't heard because there's no one else talking about it. Anyways, I've been using this thing for about a week now, going out and flying it as much as possible, testing it in as many conditions as possible. In this video, I'm going to kind of break it down into two parts. First, I want to talk about the camera, the quality of the camera. We'll talk about video, we'll talk about photos. And then in the next part, I kind of want to break down the controller because I love this thing. I mean, the design is just amazing. And the fact that that just increases the range like exponentially is pretty exciting. When I first saw DJI release this thing, I don't think I've been that excited about a type of camera in so long. So I'm so happy that it's finally here, and I'm so happy that I can finally make this video. All right, so part one, we're gonna talk about the camera. It's a 48 megapixel camera. It shoots 1080, 120, it shoots 4K 60, it does 8K hyperlapses. There's just so much that this camera does. And honestly, I've like barely scratched the surface in all of the different settings, follow shots, and all those different types of things that this thing has programmed into it. It's just really impressive how much they fit into this tiny little drone. And when I say tiny, like, that was my first impression. Like, this thing is just as big as my iPhone. So this is an iPhone 11. It's not even the Pro, it's just the regular. And it's literally like the exact same size. So it's just really impressive how small this thing is and how much they put into it. So first thing I want to talk about this in low light situations. Now, compared to the Mavic 2, I will say it's definitely not as good, but it still does pretty well. These are some shots that I took the other night at the Broadmoor Hotel. This was after the sun had already went behind the mountains. As you could see, I would say it was dusk, not necessarily night, but in a low light situation nonetheless. There's a little bit of grain, and for some reason, to me, things look a little bit fuzzy. But that being said, considering the size and the price, I think it performs really, really well. Also, I should note that the drone actually has a light on the bottom of it right here. So this lights up when you're flying at night. It can sense when it's getting dark. And that actually follows the FAA regulations. So I think it's really cool that they included that, and that's something that I didn't even really notice until I actually got up there and started flying it. So moving on from how it performs in low light situations, I next wanted to talk about 4K 60. These are some shots that I got this weekend of one of my friends running while I was kind of chasing him with the drone. And you can see how cool it looks in 60 frames a second. I mean, just having a drone that shoots 4K 60 is very impressive. So I've really been having a good time with that. I also should mention that the Fly More combo actually comes with a few really high quality ND filters. And this set includes an ND16, an ND64, and an ND256. It really helps when you're shooting in really harsh lighting conditions like midday. Even just for that, I think that's why the Fly More combo is worth it. And also, I mean, 2 extra batteries, you get a really nice carrying case and a bunch of extra propellers and other extra cords and stuff that you may need while flying. So now let's get into photos. Like I said before, it has a 48 megapixel camera. And I wanted to include some sample photos, so there's a Dropbox link down in the description below. So feel free to check out some raw photos from this camera. These were taken at 16:9, full resolution. So you can kind of make your own conclusions on how those look with those samples that I included below. The drone also includes this really cool feature called hyperlight, where if you're in a low light situation, the drone will take a few photos and it will merge them together to make one brighter image. And here's one of those photos that I tried hyperlight out with, and I think it actually turned out pretty good. But again, that's another photo that I included in that Dropbox folder, so again, feel free to make your own conclusions. I should mention that this also can take HDR photos like the Mavic 2. I also included some sample videos down below, so again, feel free to check those out. And as far as tracking shots goes, I actually want to make an entire video focused on tracking shots. So I'll have another video posted in a few weeks, really putting it to the test. But as of right now, I'm just kind of going to skip over it, and we're going to move on to the controller. So as far as the controller goes, the first thing you'll notice is just how big it is. It's almost twice the size as the old DJI remotes, and it's designed way differently. So your phone actually sits on top of this thing. It sits right in here, and it's spring loaded, so it can go up and down as you kind of need it. And then your cord pulls out from here, and you can plug in your phone from there. I really like that design. And it just pops back in once you're done with it. I just thought it was really annoying trying to fiddle with that cord going through the controller's arm to plug into your phone. So this just makes it so much easier. Now, when I first got the drone up in the air with the controller, it just felt good. And I think one of the reasons why is because your phone sits up top and it's just more natural to look at it that way. And like I mentioned a little bit before, the controller actually increases the drone's range. So you can fly this thing up to 10 kilometers away, which is a little bit over 6 miles, which is just crazy. Like, that is so far for a drone, and especially a drone this size, to be able to fly 6 miles away. I also want to kind of do a range test for this drone, which will also be another video in the future. Anyways, as far as I'm concerned, this is one of the best drones on the market, and for only $800, I think it's really worth the price. Personally, I'm excited to see some comparison videos of this drone to the Mavic 2 Zoom. The price range is pretty different, but this actually has a larger image sensor. Obviously, the Zoom can do a 2x zoom, which is pretty cool, but this has a better camera. So I'm really curious to see some comparison footage of those two drones. But as a filmmaker and photographer, I think this is the perfect drone for me. It's just a very worthwhile drone, and I'm not gonna be looking to upgrade anytime soon. So with that, I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video. More Mavic 2 content definitely coming soon. Go check out the sample images and videos that I included down below, and feel free to make your own conclusions. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next video. Later, guys.